Mr. Chancellor, Mr. President, distinguished guests, especially to you, the students, I'm deeply honored, exceptionally humbled to be here before you today to receive such a degree from such an incredible institution. I want to talk to you today about two things that I believe can help you as you move on in life. The first one is called instilling the dignity of value, respecting the dignity of man. And the second one I want to talk to you about is the importance of mothers. When I was a young boy growing up in the Miramichi, I was much fortunate in that I had my father, Bill Vickers, who had a relationship with St. Avex Coady Institute. So every spring in our home, we'd have students from third world countries around our supper table, where I learned firsthand about poverty, injustice, and most importantly, respecting the dignity of people. Miramichi, the river, it's a wonderful place to grow up. One day, walking by the courthouse, grade 2, I saw 3 members of the RCMP coming out of the courthouse with their red serge. I knew then exactly what I was going to do with my life. I went and had an incredible career in the RCMP. And one of the things that struck me during my career is that I obtained 17 confessions from men who've killed people. The reason that I was able to get those confessions and facilitate those men telling me their stories was what my father, Bill Vickers, instilled in me way back when. Regardless how repulsive the crime, you always respect the dignity of the person. My career went by quickly. One day I got a phone call if I would be interested in becoming the Director of Security at the House of Commons. I went down and I saw a father and a son playing Frisbee on the lawns of Parliament Hill. I was instantly enamored with the place, and I wanted to protect it. I wanted to keep it safe from harm. Luckily for me, unfortunately, I got the job. A year later, I was called over to PCO, senior appointments, for an interview to become Sergeant at Arms. After an hour of executive-type questions, they asked me the question, why do you want to become Sergeant at Arms? I told them I never thought I'd do anything else in my life other than be a member of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. But I saw that father and I saw that son playing Frisbee on that lawns that day. And I said to myself, I always wanted to be here to protect this place. And then I told them I had an Aunt Anne-Marie, and she taught me poetry. And one of the poems she taught me was called The Mending Wall. And I started. Something there is that does not love a wall, that wants it down, that makes the frozen ground swell up under it. Before I built a wall, I would ask what I was walling in, what I was walling out, and to whom I'd be likely to give offense. Something there is that does not love a wall, that wants it down. I stopped, I looked around the interview table, and I said, if you people make me the Sergeant at Arms, there will be no walls built around Canada's Parliament buildings. I got the job. My career as Sergeant at Arms went by very quickly, and then on October 22nd came that day, that tragic day. And I found myself on one side of the pillar and a gunman on the other side of the pillar. His gun was right there. There was a moment where I thought I'd just reach out and grab the gun. He shot and fired, and the moment he shot and fired, I dove through the air, landing on the floor just beneath him. As my friend Craig Oliver from CTV said, I bumped up against a moment in history. That day was a blur to me. I went home that night, and I had a hard time going to sleep. And I woke up around 5:30 in the morning, and I was crying. It was the loneliest moment of my life. The morning came. Who called? My mother. Kevin Michael, how are you doing? I'm doing just great, Mom. You know? Well, dear, I'm not too sure about Andrew and Laura, and I think you should think about coming home. Mom will be fine. Next day, same phone call, same conversation. Friday morning, same phone call, same conversation. Saturday morning, I said to myself, Mom wants me home. So I jumped in the truck and drove from Ottawa to Miramichi down through the Plaster Rock, Renews Highway. And that night I said to myself, as I was driving, what is it with these men, the men that I obtained confessions from, and the gentleman, the individual that we met, that I met in the Hall of Honor. And I said to myself, in thinking of my father, respecting the dignity of people, I should pray for them. I arrived home at 4 o'clock in the morning in my log home on the northwest Miramichi, and I phoned our family priest, Father Leon Creamer. And it was as if he was waiting for the phone call. He was awake, 4 o'clock in the morning. I said, Father, 11 o'clock this morning, could you come up and say Mass at my log home? He said, Kevin, I'll be there. The next person I called was my daughter, Laura. She was awake, breastfeeding my 4-week-old grandson, Lachlan. She said, Dad, I'm coming. I then phoned a couple of my aunts, Catholic nuns down in St. John. Kevin, we're coming. I went to bed. 8:30 that morning, I got up and I called my mother. She was so happy I was home. I called my son Andrew, my sister Mary. 11 o'clock, we had Mass. After the readings of the Mass, my mother, respecting the dignity of people, she prayed for Kathy. Kathy's Nathan Cyrilla's mother, who was shot and killed that day. She also prayed for Suzanne Zeoff, Michael's mom. And I was there at that Mass with Lachlan, 4 weeks old, in my arms, Luke on my lap, and my granddaughter Reese at my side. And it kind of occurred to me that God, after he was crucified, the first person he let into the kingdom of heaven was a man crucified next to him, a convicted criminal. So with my grandchildren in my arms, I said a prayer for Michael. That point in time of all the incident and everything else about that incident of October 22nd meant much to me. After Mass, I went down to the river, and I thought just how important mothers are. I was okay now. It was all thanks to Mom having organized and got me back home, because she knew it wasn't my children that needed me home. It was Kevin, Michael, who needed to be home. So I just want to stress to you the importance of mothers, because, class, you're going to have your October 22nd. And you just always remember that your mother is there who loves you, who will protect you, always stand with you. Over in Ireland, I was struck by a special poem. The country voted on a favorite poem, and it's about a mother and a child. And I'll leave you with this. It's called While the Others Were Away at Mass. When all the others were away at Mass, I was all hers as we peeled potatoes. They broke the silence let fall one by one, like solder weeping off the soldering iron. Cold comfort set between us, things to share, gleaming in a bucket of clean water. And let fall again from each other's work, little pleasant splashes, which would bring us to our senses. So while the parish priest was at her bedside, going hammer and tongs with the prayers for the dying, and some were responding and some were crying, I remember her head bent towards my head. I remember her breath in mine, our fluent dipping knives, never closer the whole rest of our lives. Thank you very much.